Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Vought, thank you for being here. I can't help but notice how many times I've heard throughout the hearing today your argument that the Impoundment Control Act is unconstitutional. But the fact that the incoming general counsel at OMB, along with you, in your final days of the first Trump administration, specifically requested legislative adjustments to the Impoundment Control Act. What that tells me is that you do, in fact, understand the constitutionality of this law as not just currently on the books, but upheld by the courts. In your testimony here today and through how you served in the first Trump administration, it also strikes me, you come across as someone who thinks they know better than Congress, better than this committee, and at times even better than the president during the first Trump administration. You testified last week that you've been thinking about returning to the OMB for the last 4 years, and I can only hope and pray that, should you be confirmed, that you would uphold the Constitution above all else. I mean, I normally think folks willing to put themselves out for a position in public service for their willingness, because it's not easy. My colleague, Senator Lujan, raised some of your contributions to Project 2025. And in that Project 2025, you write that the OMB Director should be, quote, aggressive in wielding the tool of apportionment on behalf of the president's agenda, and, quote, defend the apportionment power against attacks from Congress. It's particularly striking that there's so many members of this committee that seem eager, anxious, ready to vote for your confirmation when there's a clear disregard and disdain for Congress's appropriation authority. Frankly, Mr. Chairman, I know you're one of the appropriators. Wish you would join us and try to drive home this point, because it's setting the stage for how we will be working together over the next 4 years. I have to take this opportunity to echo Senator Peters, who raised a specific concern during your hearing in the Homeland Security Committee last week, outlining the fact that your record is particularly concerning for disaster-impacted states, given your previous unlawful actions to politicize, withhold, and slow the distribution of disaster or even foreign aid. So my question to you is this, Mr. Vought: if confirmed, will you or will you not politicize disaster funding and deny funds provided by Congress for American families and businesses that have been devastated by natural disasters?
Senator, I would not politicize the dispersing of federal funds in any capacity.
Well, that's great to hear, because you say you're going to implement the president's agenda, and I've been paying very close to his remarks since the outset of the devastating fires in Southern California these last few weeks. I'd like to ask you, Mr. Vought, will you commit to getting congressionally appropriated funding out to Californians devastated by these fires as quickly as possible?
Senator, this president has always been a firm distributor of federal resources to areas that need disaster money, and I don't expect that to change. And that's characterized my time at OMB the first time around. To your earlier question, I do support and will take an oath to uphold the Constitution, and that will continue if confirmed in this capacity.
So two comments, just again for the record. Glad you're pledging to uphold the Constitution, because the Constitution and the law is clear as it pertains to the Impoundment Control Act. So unlike some of your clearly understood efforts in the first term, I hope you don't go back to those bad faith practices and efforts in the second term. And you're suggesting that you're not going to politicize the disbursement of funds, you're going to get them out the door as quickly as possible. Again, I would appreciate you living up to that commitment that you stated here today, because I continue to hear comments from President Trump, from leaders Republican leaders in Congress on both sides of the Capitol about attaching disaster funding to a debt limit vote or attaching disaster funding to some other element of the new administration's agenda, whether it's tax breaks for billionaires, whether it's some unrelated issue in Northern California as it pertains to federal land management or anything else. So thank you for your comments on the record. I look forward to holding you to them.